I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
And with that, it would appear Aaron Rodgers is saying goodbye to Green Bay. He's still under contract with the Packers, but he's ready to wear a different shade of green.
Love, so much love and gratitude, and just heart open for the Packer fans and what it meant to be their quarterback.
Looking back at his legendary career, fans say the multiple MVP winner will be remembered fondly for bringing a title back to Titletown.
I just kind of broke the news to you just now, but
I know, I want a box of tissues. This is horrible.
Aaron Rodgers and his intention to play for the New York Jets tops this extended edition of Action 2 News at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. It does seem the wait is over when it comes to Aaron Rodgers' next move.
In an interview earlier today, the four-time MVP quarterback made it clear he plans to play for the New York Jets when the first ball is snapped next season. In our team coverage, we have crews standing by after hearing from fans on the latest news and how the move will impact some of the nonprofits in our area that work with Rodgers.
But first, Chris Ralph takes us through what we heard from Rodgers in his first public comments about his future. Chris.
All right, Cammie and Bill, Aaron Rodgers' time in Green Bay is over. It's just not official yet. Rodgers saying on the Pat McAfee show today that after this season, the Packers told him to take his time with his decision and that they would welcome him back if he wanted to play. But he felt something change when he came out of his darkness retreat. He was hearing he was being shopped around by the Packers. Now, before that retreat, he said he was about 90% sure that he would retire. After he met with the Jets when he came out and after thinking about it, he decided that is where he wanted to play. Now he and everybody else is waiting while the two teams hammer out a deal.
Love that organization and always going to have love for that organization. But the facts are right now, they want to move on.
Oh my God, it's right there. See it.
And now so do I. You know, look, nobody wants to be the bad guy in a situation. And honestly, there isn't at this point a bad guy in the situation. As long as everything gets resolved the right way, they want to move on, and now I want to play, and they're ready to move on with Jordan. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Jordan's going to be a great player. You got a aging, face of the franchise for the last 15 years that it's time to do right by.
All right, so the long courtship of Rodgers should soon be at an end. And it's hard to believe that the compensation talks are still ongoing, considering the Jets and Packers began talking trade at the Super Bowl, that according to SNY Jets reporter Connor Orr. But this isn't ending. That much was made clear today on the McAfee show. And that means the Packers portion of his Hall of Fame career is over after a remarkable, in many ways, 18 seasons.
It seems like we've fallen into paradise, and it's a great situation for me. I'm going to make sure those 23 teams who didn't pick me, I make sure they know they made a mistake.
It would take 3 years of serving an apprenticeship under future Hall of Famer Brett Favre for Rodgers to start making good on that promise. But boy, it did not take long after that. In 2008, he became just the second quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4,000 or more yards in their first year of starting a game. He started all 16. The next year, Rodgers led the league in touchdowns to interception ratio 30-7, and in his first playoff appearance, he threw for a franchise record 423 yards in an OT loss to the Cardinals. And in just his third year as a starter, he led the Packers to the promised land. 3 playoff ratings over 110 and that Super Bowl MVP. Statistically, 2011 was even better. 45 touchdowns, only 6 picks, and he sets the single-season passer rating mark of 122.5 en route to his first MVP award. Rodgers led the NFL in passer rating again the next year, then came back from his first broken collarbone in the 2013 season finale to beat Chicago and clinch a 3rd straight division title. 2014 was the year of RELAX and the second MVP award. The careful and precise Rodgers becoming the first in NFL history to throw just 5 or fewer picks with over 500 pass attempts. But playoff disappointments continued despite statistically good seasons and remarkable individual throws. 2015, the year of the Hail Marys. 2016, running the table with those 8 straight wins, the 8th, thanks to that job. But another broken collarbone came in 2017, followed by a broken relationship with Mike McCarthy, leading to the coach's premature exit in 2018. Team president Mark Murphy picked Matt LaFleur in 2019 in large part to help Rodgers, and while the two reached the NFC title game in year 1 together, it's years 2 and 3 that were off the charts. Rodgers with a franchise record 48 touchdown passes in 2020, becoming the first in NFL history to lead the league in touchdowns, passer rating, completion, and interception percentage. That was more than good enough for a third MVP award. And in 2021, Rodgers becomes the franchise leader, 449 career touchdowns, setting the record with Davante Adams for most prolific duo in team history with 68 connections and a second straight MVP award. After an offseason of uncertainty, Rodgers signs a massive contract extension to return in 2022 and presumably beyond. But it turns into one of the worst statistical seasons of his long career, playing at times with thumb and rib injuries, and without his connection with Adams, Rodgers had his lowest passer rating, his fewest touchdowns per game, and his 12 picks were the most since his first year as a starter, when he had 13. The Packers finishing with a losing record for just the third time in the 14 years he started all or the majority of games.
Don't want to, lose your last game and miss out in playoffs, but this is a great profession and a really tough business, and doesn't always end with rainbows for everybody.
All that's missing from his Green Bay resume to prove those 23 teams made a mistake in 2005, a second Vince Lombardi trophy.
I miss the guys. I miss the fans. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Well, after some time to process all of this, fans in the organization certainly will say thank you to Aaron Rodgers. Now, the Packers have enjoyed 31 years of Hall of Fame caliber quarterback play between Rodgers and Brett Favre. 16 other quarterbacks won Super Bowls in those 31 years, 5 current Hall of Famers and 2 soon-to-be Hall of Famers. And out of those 7, 4 won multiple titles: Troy Aikman, John Elway, Peyton Manning, and of course Tom Brady. Much more on Rodgers' career and his successor still to come in this extended edition. Bill?
Chris, thank you. Today's message from Aaron Rodgers is one fans have been holding their breath for. For the past 2 seasons now, fans have been wondering where Rodgers would land, even before his last season with the Packers started. Many thinking ahead to the moment whether they would be hopeful he would stay or convinced he'd be on the way out of town. We continue our team coverage tonight with Emily Bayer, who talked with fans today at Lambeau Field. Emily, how are they feeling today?
Yeah, hey, Bill, it's been a range of emotions here today. Many fans telling me that they knew this day would come. Players either retire or they move on, and it's looking like for Aaron Rodgers that he is also ready to move on. I spoke with several fans out shopping today at the Packers Pro Shop. No Rodgers apparel seemed to be on clearance quite yet. Fans sharing a mixed bag of emotions as they prepare for the end of a football era. Some fans sharing that simply the show must go on.
So tell me, how do you feel? Again, I just kind of broke the news to you just now, but
I know. I want a box of tissues. This is horrible.
I actually am surprised that he kind of stayed as long as he did.
I think, his time's coming to an end, and I'm excited for Jordan Love. He showed some flashes during the Eagles game, and him and Christian Watson have that connection, so I'm really excited to see that connection. It's unfortunate. We had 2 really great quarterbacks back-to-back in Brett Favre and Rodgers, but I'm excited for what Jordan Love has.
I'm ready to see him go. There's always somebody you can pick up. 49ers picked up Mr. Irrelevant last year. He did all right.
Time to give the young kids a chance. Yeah. There's always a replacement. And hopefully Jordan Love can take over. And, the first year might not be great, but then Rodgers' first year wasn't great either, was it?
A little silver lining thought for you there from John and Kate from Grafton. They're in town celebrating 55 years together. They added that it could be worse, although Rodgers is not official. At least it's not going to be a Bears or a Vikings. Reporting live from Lambeau Field, Emily Bayer, Action 2 News.
Emily, thank you. So we've heard from the fans, but what about the other Packers now looking at a new season with the new starting quarterback?
Still, Ed, we're heading into the locker room to hear from some of the people who have played with Rodgers for years.
A lot of people said I was, washed, couldn't really play anymore.
Washed, yeah.
Wasn't the same. And then I won 2 MVPs in a row without really doing anything different. I'm sure there's a lot of the same sentiment this year. Do I still think I can play? Of course. Of course. Can I play at a high level? Yeah. The highest. I think I can win MVP again. The right situation. Right situation, is that Green Bay or is that somewhere else? I'm not sure. I think no player wants to be part of any type of rebuild. I said that years ago. Reloads are a lot of fun because you feel like you're close. You're only a couple guys away.
Welcome back. Well, that interview on the Pat McAfee Show came less than 2 weeks after the Packers season ended with that loss to the Lions. But there is no doubt Rodgers still believes he can play at an MVP level, now hoping in New York. The Jets are banking on him playing at a championship level. They are expecting him to make that impact on a team that has one Super Bowl win, and that came 55 seasons ago. But Rodgers' impact in Green Bay, enormous, on the field and in the locker room. Adriana Torres joins us with more on that. Adriana?
Yeah, Chris, and several of those Jets players campaigning on social media for Rodgers to come to New York. Guys want to play with a four-time MVP. Now, he's made an impact across the entire sport of football. Rodgers has said, though, mainly in his recent reflecting years, that this game is about relationships, about guys you rely on, even if they don't show up in the stat book. And that could go both ways.
18 years. Aaron Rodgers reaching adulthood in the NFL. 18 seasons in this league means he's dealt with a whole lot of different kind of people and at different times in his life. From shadowing Brett Favre to working through growing pains to becoming a leader and then to mentoring other young players. No doubt a future Hall of Famer that has touched so many in this football world, including his teammates.
The entire time I've been with 12, Aaron, it's been awesome. I've learned a lot from him over the time and got nothing but respect. One of the best, if not, in my opinion, he's the best, but I know other people have their things, but, one of the best to ever do it. And, it's really been an honor to kind of go to battle with him, work with him, and, have him coach me up out there. So.
I'm extremely thankful to be able to have learned from him, grown with him. I think that he pushed me to be a better player, a better man each and every day. Going forward, I'm just thankful that I've got to learn and play with such an extraordinary athlete.
And the relationships obviously go even deeper with guys who have been teammates with Rodgers longer, like Aaron Jones, who will never forget his early days with 12.
Well, he's meant a lot. I owe A-Rod a lot. Just pretty much, I don't know how my career would have been if it wasn't for him lobbying for me to play. And early, when I was under McCarthy, he'd come to the sideline, I want 33 in the game, or call a timeout and like 33. And so just those things when I wasn't getting playing time and him believing in me did a lot for my confidence and did a lot for me, If a Hall of Fame quarterback believes in you and you've only taken a couple snaps and he thinks that highly of you, then, I got to live up to that. I got to go out there and prove my guy right. And just does a lot for your confidence. He's taught me a lot of lessons. I don't know where to start. Never give up. Don't let anybody count you out. If somebody tells you you can't do something, you prove them wrong. You just look at, like, you don't argue back. You just, okay, you smile at them and just work, go to work. And so he's taught me so many things, how to, like, being resilient, being a leader, just so many different things, and I thank him for that.
And then there are those teammates that became more than coworkers.
I've cherished every moment with him. Loved it. He's a brother to me. So Aaron's been a pretty closed-off individual, so I think for him, seeing him kind of open up and really see a side of who he is, I've loved that.
Yeah, it's my brother. It's a man that stood in my wedding. He's the godfather of one of my kids, so it's way bigger than football for us. Obviously we've had a lot of moments together. We've spent a lot of years together on this team in Green Bay here. But we'll see where life takes us.
We'll see where life takes us. All of that part of a wild ride this offseason. And it's been even more wild the past few weeks. Now on Friday, perhaps some fuel to the fire when I interviewed Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy. He used the past tense when speaking about Rodgers, and even more interesting is when I asked him if it was strange that the organization has been through something very similar 15 years ago with Brett Favre, and of course involving the Jets.
It's kind of that happens in our game. Very few players play for only one team, and obviously Brett had a great career, Aaron had a great career here, and Aaron will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he'll be in our Hall of Fame, and we'll bring him back, he'll retire his number, and but this is just one of the things that you go through as a team.
Favre and Rodgers bringing this organization a combined 2 Super Bowl titles, 7 NFL MVPs, 7 first-team All-Pros, and 22 playoff appearances in their 30 years in Green Bay. Chris.
All right, Adriana, thank you. She's going to join us later on with the replacement, more on the replacement for Aaron Rodgers. We're also going to take a closer look at Aaron's career here, including when he took the reins back in Green Bay. And of course, our top 10 moments, Cammie.
Thanks, Chris. We'll see you soon. Our team coverage continues as reaction continues to pour in. People have a lot to say about Aaron Rodgers. You've heard from fans on the ground right over at Lambeau Field.
Now, though, let's head to the Twitter sphere with Brittany Schmidt for some team and player reactions. Brittany.
Well, Cammie and Bill, we have to start with the Jets official Twitter page. Sums up the day pretty well here. Everyone's eyes on the Pat McAfee show this afternoon, waiting to hear from Rodgers himself, and then this classic meme of Leonardo DiCaprio sporting a new shade of green with that New York Jets hat. If everything works out between the Packers and Jets, here's what a potential new teammate, offensive lineman Mekhi Becton, tweeted, a meme clapping ferociously with some heart eye emojis. Another potential new protector of Rodgers tweeted just one word. Here it comes. Hallelujah. I guess it just says it all for him. Meanwhile, longtime protector and friend David Bakhtiari posted this meme this afternoon, a crying one, on repeat for Aaron Rodgers. There have been a few tweets on the Packers Twitter page as the new league year started a few hours ago, but none of them address Aaron Rodgers today. Bill?
All right, Brittany, thank you much. We now turn to the charitable organizations that Rodgers has helped out over the years.
Yeah, that includes over $2.5 million raised for cancer and blood disorder research. Emily Riley live in the Fox Valley newsroom to tell us what these organizations are saying about Rodgers' plans. Emily.
Cammie, Rodgers has contributed to numerous organizations over the past 18 years. Make-A-Wish Wisconsin says he's helped with over 100 wishes. Chris Tiapolo, the organization's senior regional manager, says it had a tremendous impact on children with critical illnesses to be able to meet their idol. Through Make-A-Wish, kids wishing to meet the Packers are put up in a hotel, taken to Lambeau Field in a limo, and then get to go behind the scenes and meet all the players. Rodgers would then greet the kids on the sidelines, have lunches with them, and take photos.
The Green Bay Packers are just so phenomenal in so many ways in making a big difference for Make-A-Wish and for the kids. So I assume, and I know that kids will continue to wish to meet the Green Bay Packers and their favorite players for years to come.
Tiapolo says the organization couldn't be more grateful for all of Rodgers' help. Reporting live in the Fox Valley newsroom, Emily Riley, Action 2 News.
Emily, thank you. When Aaron Rodgers leaves the frozen tundra, he leaves behind, no doubt, a significant legacy.
Replacing that role is a job Rodgers is very familiar with himself. When we come back, we'll look at what it means to take over after a Packers legend leaves.
Among the NFL greats, Aaron Rodgers ranks second in highest passer rating behind the still active Patrick Mahomes. He's tossed the fifth most touchdowns, 33 behind Brett Favre for fourth place. Rodgers is tied with Dan Marino for seventh in all-time wins, and he cracks the top 10 in passing yards, ranking ninth, but that's 30,000 behind all-time leader Tom Brady. And welcome back. Those are just some of the bullet points from the resume of the future Hall of Famer with the rifle arm. Numbers don't always tell the entire story, but with Rodgers, they are a big part of his career narrative. Dave Schrader joins us with more. Dave?
Well, with Aaron Rodgers' time in Titletown now up, it is time to look back through the lens of history repeating itself to a degree. Will Jordan Love have what it takes to follow in Rodgers' big footsteps? No one knows, but those same questions surrounded Rodgers 15 years ago.
Replacing a legend is hard, but at times, Aaron Rodgers made it look easy. And it was often the tough times that brought out his best. Remember RELAX in 2014? That led to an MVP season while playing with a calf injury late in the season. Run the table in 2016, nearly the same while playing with another calf concern. Rodgers came back from 2 collarbone breaks in seasons. The first, finishing with a 4th down touchdown to make the playoffs. There was the tibial plateau fracture to start the Packers' 100th season of football with a heroic and hobbling effort for a comeback against the Bears. Then a broken toe in 2021 would not break his grasp of mastery on the game as he became the first back-to-back winner of the MVP award in more than 10 seasons. And this past year, almost run the table 2.0 with a broken thumb, rib injury, and more. No, he didn't have the numbers and didn't finish the job this time, but it was still wildly entertaining. Following up the mythology of Brett Favre could have been a suffocating experience for a young player, but Rodgers' steady right arm netted a career that surpassed that of his predecessor in many respects. In Green Bay, Rodgers broke Favre's franchise touchdown record, tossing for 475 scores while playing in 21 fewer games than Favre. Rodgers with 33 more touchdowns, yet 181 fewer interceptions, despite tossing a dozen picks last season. That was always number 12's calling card, diabolically good decision-making. Rodgers' career passer rating is second only to Patrick Mahomes, and his 4.52 scores for every pick thrown, best in league history. Rodgers climbed the mountain to win Super Bowl 45 in his third season as a starter. But, try as he might, Rodgers never made it back to the big game as a Packer, 4 more times playing in an NFC Championship game, but coming up short every time, none in more painful fashion than losing a late lead in Seattle. Rodgers' 4 MVP awards, second only to Peyton Manning's 5 in NFL annals. As meaningful as those awards are in explaining his magic on the field, the fact remains true: no NFL players won MVP and the Super Bowl the same season this millennium, not since Kurt Warner in 1999. But Rodgers certainly lived up to all the hype and proved the late Ted Thompson right that Rodgers' talent simply too good to pass up in the 2005 NFL Draft. All those years ago, few thought his career, even if successful, could rival that of old number 4, but it did. Rodgers, as you know, did things his way, and on the field he became a legend in his own right. Both Favre and Rodgers won 1 Super Bowl. Rodgers has the team touchdown record, Favre the yardage mark. As for the memories made, that's in the eye of the beholder, but number 12 sure left a myriad worth watching and watching and watching. So many sublime scenes from his career left on the cutting room floor here, but they'll have to live on in the memories of those who watched number 12 start for 15 seasons in Green Bay.
There sure was a lot to reminisce on, and incomparable career in many regards.
All right, Dave, thank you. Up next, Jordan Love. The Packers seemingly have been committed to him all offseason. We'll talk about why when we come back. Aaron Rodgers will become the Packers' 4th quarterback in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, joining Ernie Herber, Bart Starr, and Brett Favre. Here's how the Super Bowl trio resumes stack up. Starr has the most Super Bowl victories and MVPs. Favre has the most All-Pro nods. Rodgers has the most league MVPs and touchdown passes and the highest rating. And welcome back. Certainly the Packers have been blessed with gold jacket quarterbacking, as you just saw, but those are really high expectations to place on the next in line, Jordan Love. Let's rejoin Adriana with more. AT?
It all started in 2020 when the Packers shocked the football world when, instead of getting Aaron Rodgers' help, they drafted his replacement in the 1st round. And with a whole lot of drama in between, the time has now come for that new chapter. The transition has been going on the last 3 years, but this past season, year 3 for Love, it's picked up. And Rodgers said in his year 3, that was a big turning point for him back in 2007 before taking over in 2008. And now this team has seen growth in Love's development in 2022, playing in 4 games with 14 passes and 1 TD. But, you know, it's not always about the stats.
I say I just feel more comfortable. Feel more comfortable, more confident, and I'm just seeing things a little bit quicker, playing at a faster level right now. More comfortable doing everything, play calling, playing, seeing defenses, everything. I think just getting those in-game reps, it helps to see it a little bit different, see what it feels like to be in a game, and then, you know, taking it to practice, it helps.
Complete confidence in his ability, but also just his approach. And it's been fun to watch him mature. I think we've seen significant growth from him. So I'm definitely excited about, you know, where he could be. We got a lot of confidence in him and in his ability moving forward.
Yeah, I think he's ready to play, and I think he's ready to be an NFL starting quarterback. He's worked really hard. He's shown a lot of progression. I know he's really eager to have that, and I think that's the next step in his progression is to play.
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in him. I think, we drafted him and developed him. A lot of credit goes to our coaches, and to Jordan. But we do think he's ready.
Jordan Love, the new face of the franchise. So in total, the last 2 seasons, Love has thrown 83 passes, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions over 10 regular season games. And one of those, of course, a start. So for reference, Rodgers threw 59 passes, 1 TD and 1 pick over 7 games in his first 3 years. Chris.
All right, Adriana, so 15 years later, the Packers will once again transition away from a future Hall of Fame quarterback to one who served a 3-year apprenticeship, with today's news that he's about to go to the Jets. Now, that should guarantee that the 2023 transition is not nearly as tumultuous as that 2008 transition.
The only shoes he has to fill is himself. He doesn't need to play like Brett Favre. He's his own player, his own style. They obviously drafted him because he has the talent, mental capabilities. He'll be fine.
And with that, the torch was passed, or so we all thought, including Aaron.
I think it's exciting. I think if I'm always going to be compared to Brett, obviously. I think I need to just be my own quarterback, be my own man, though. I've been waiting my whole life to do this.
4 months later, the reports began about Favre wanting back in. But the Packers maintained that Rodgers was their starter, which led to this moment at the ESPYs right before training camp.
It's the real-life Brett Favre. Dude, what is going on? What's up with you? What have you been up to lately? I haven't seen you anywhere recently. Excuse me for a second, you guys. It's personal. I gotta do something. Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man. Just get up for a second. Dude, it's cool.
Favre filed his reinstatement papers at the start of camp that year, trying to force the Packers' hand, but they responded with a forceful endorsement of Rodgers. He's the starter. You can return, but as a backup. And Rodgers' teammates had his back.
What we understand is A-Rod is our guy. He's been our guy, you know, as far as starting quarterback the whole offseason, starting camp. So that's where we're expected to be. So there's no reason for anybody in this locker room to take sides.
I've been empowered as a starting quarterback, and until that changes, I'm going to say it again, that's going to be my focus.
It didn't change. A few days later, Favre was a New York Jet, and Rodgers started the next 15 seasons.
Number 12, Aaron Rodgers!
Stats. All right, good to hear Billy there. And Packer fans, best not to compare the Jets and Packers records this upcoming season, especially as Love gets his feet wet. Back in 2008, Favre led the Jets to an 8-3 start, while the Packers and Rodgers began 5-6 en route to a 6-10 season. But after that hot start, Favre suffered a biceps injury, and the Jets faded badly down the stretch. They finished 9-7, and Favre left after 1 season in New York. Just a word to the wise, don't torture yourself. This is a long-term decision, as much for a salary cap reset as anything else. Not because the Packers think that Aaron can't play anymore, but he sure did play well here, and still to come, Bill and Cammie, a subjective look, we admit, at his top 10 moments in Green Bay.